Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, here in Foley Square. It's Tuesday, December 26, 2023. It's quiet down here. The courts are officially open, but some would say there's not much going on. I'll say that there is. We'll be in the Mad Court, we'll be elsewhere, but we're going to do a slightly different vlog for this workday, strange workday. First, actual news for what it's worth in the crypto world, but a transition to our jailhouse episode. Karony of SafeMoon, he was been in Utah. He's been jailed there. They hadn't moved him. Finally, Judge Comity over in the EDNY said he's got to be moved, and he was. He showed up in the database of the MDC Brooklyn. So, Christmas in the MDC, and that's our theme. Last week, and I don't think I was mentioned on this on these vlogs, but I covered the case in the magistrate's court here in SDNY of a woman named Kelly Josek, and she was pretty thin. Seemed to be pretty much of a kind of a at least it was presented as a drug addiction issue, grand larceny, a previous case. I'm not running her down except to say I didn't even write about it at first. It seemed just like pure human suffering. But as I looked into it, there was a warrant from Texas, and in fact she had been previously arrested and abused in Rikers Island, and they'd paid a settlement. So it seemed like there was more to the case. So I wrote a story. Apparently she read it, or someone that she knew read it, because in a momentary moment that she was out between jail stints, she contacted me and I spoke with her at some length. And without getting into specifics or trying to problematize any of her cases, I'll say this. The judge here in SDNY, Ona T. Wang, the magistrate, really tried to do her solid. Said that she could be released on bond pending going to Texas for this other case. And the problem was, as soon as she was released on bond, she was picked up on an I-card, which is not even really a warrant. You can look it up. It's a New York City thing where you're kind of a person of interest. She was picked up on an I-card and brought to Queens. And in Queens, she was actually supposed to be sent back to Rikers Island, where she had been previously abused. She reached out, tried to get the judge in Texas to take off the warrant on which she'd been arrested here. Long story short, 60 hours in Queens. Some lawyer over there didn't really want to help her. She was released from Queens and immediately picked up, apparently, on a Brooklyn I-card. So it goes. There's more to the story, but I'm leaving some off to not. It's a story of both the mercy. It makes SDIY look good, but it makes the New York City system look bad. I've written a song about it called "The System Is Broken." You can find that. I did it over the weekend. It's not great, but it tries to be into that. But I want to say it's just, there's some big cases here. We covered SBF. We're going to be covering a lot of not just crypto, but all Trump, Carroll, all kinds of big cases. But this is the kind of thing where the rubber meets the road. There was an attempt to be human, and again, some people would say it's all her fault. Who knows? You can read it, you figure it out. Now let's turn to the United Nations. Big picture, okay? This is nitty gritty. Gaza, they're so concerned. The United Nations, so concerned. It's global news. Everyone's worried. Well, do you know what? The United Nations is closed as it was so quiet you couldn't even hear a mouse, because these guys are all on vacation. I'm not talking about the diplomats. I'm talking about the spokesman who's supposed to be speaking these concerns. I'm talking about Antonio Guterres. Where is he? He's a global hero for his heart-wrenching pearl clutching. Well, he's chilling out once again. Intercity press is banned from the UN, but what we're going to be doing today is putting in questions that they should answer, including about the UN's own misdeeds, child rapes disclosed just before Christmas. Wasn't that nice? They put them on their website so that no one would see them. In DRC and Central African Republic, UN peacekeepers raping children, and no one that they let into the building asks. And they don't answer inner-city press's questions, and I've thought about why, and they think they can determine who can cover the UN. They believe that if they don't answer any questions, you can't really write about the UN. It's not true, actually, because UN staff members, to their credit, or for their own reasons, they're so ignored. Their views, not just political, there were WFP workers in Burma, Myanmar, that were just left behind when the government was bombing them. So, to make a long story short, and this is a much longer than usual vlog, because it is what it is, we're going to be putting in questions to at least 2 spokespeople who are getting paid this week. We'll have their names later today. But we'll see. Maybe they'll answer. Maybe it's all new. I got a haircut. Why can't they change? Anyway, we're going to keep pushing to re-enter the United Nations and ask the questions there in person. But that's it for now, and we'll be back to the big cases when the big cases resume. Inner City Press, to be continued.